Hello, Mark Pearson, Executive and Artistic Director of the College Light Opera Company, coming to you from the Highfield Theatre. Welcome to Main Stage, a weekend review of work being done by our talented vocal company members. Main Stage is made possible by a generous gift from Les Wrigley in memory of Ginny Wrigley. I hope you enjoy the show.
It only takes a moment for your eyes to meet, and then your heart knows in a moment you will never be alone again. I held her for an instant, but my arms felt sure and strong. It only takes a moment to be loved a whole life long. Hannah, when I saw you with your arms around that guy, I wanted to kill myself. I mean, God. Hannah, he wasn't even that attractive. I could only see the back of his head, but I have seen better backs of heads. Well, guess what, Hannah? Guess what? You make this really annoying noise whenever you eat yogurt off the spoon. Yeah. Ow. 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 Well, guess what else? I hate the tattoo you got on your right shoulder. I know, I told you it looked cute, but it's actually pretty freaking stupid. A for anarchy. What kind of anarchist makes custom jewelry? You go to Mount Holyoke, for Christ's sake. Your dad pays your visa. You broke my heart. You broke my heart. I guess what I am trying to say is that someone can like me. Someone can find me attractive. Somebody can even want to be with me. It doesn't always have to be the other way around. So in conclusion, I hate you and go die. Sorry. I wish you the best. And my number is the same if you would like to call me back.
Hi, my name is Sabrina Bresh, and this is Poor Unfortunate Souls. The men up there don't like a lot of blabber. They think a girl who gossips is a bore. Why, yes, on land it's much preferred for ladies not to say a word. And after all, dear, what is idle prattle for? Come on! They're not all that impressed with conversation. True gentlemen avoid it when they can. Oh, but they dote and swoon and fawn on a lady who's withdrawn. It's she who holds her tongue that gets the man. Come on, you unfortunate soul. Go ahead, make your choice. I'm a very busy woman and I haven't got all day. No, it won't cost much, just your voice. You poor unfortunate soul, it's sad, but true. If you want to cross the bridge, my sweet, you've got to pay the toll. Take a gulp and take a breath and go ahead and sign the scroll. Flotsam, jetsam, now I got our boys. The boss is on a roll. Are you poor unfortunate soul? You want to know what my memories of Tilly are? They're of this little nerdy girl who I never talked to, who I ignored, who I didn't understand because she didn't live in the same world that I did. Her world was filled with evil jello molds and lesbian demon queens and slacker gods. Mine was filled with George Michaels and leg warmers. I didn't understand her. I mean, I thought I would one day, that this was all just a phase that she'd grow out of, and I'd finally be able to talk to her about normal things like clothes and boys and TV shows. And you know, I didn't even know that she wasn't even into boys until the DM told me. I missed out on her entire life. And now, all I have to remember her by is this stupid piece of paper about some stupid made-up adventure about killing some stupid made-up dragon.
I'm Jason Gonzalez Larson, and this is a monologue from The Aliens by Annie Baker. So she calls me and delivers the big news or whatever in the most condescendingly freakish manner possible. And I call her a bitch. Which, if you recall, is like the big no-no word in our relationship. And she says, "You promised to never call me that again." And I say, "Are you actually listening to yourself?" And I hang up. And then for 5 minutes, I'm like, worst 5 minutes of my life. Actually, no, not the worst 5 minutes of my life. Bad, though. But then I remember something your fucking mother told me. She was like, this in-between state, this being unstable or whatever. The state of having just lost someone is like the most enlightened state in the world. Down there, Miss Kitty Farley is pouring whiskey, and Frankie Donahue is lighting her cigar. A smoky den where working men to bring the wine. It's a lifetime of fellas with stories to tell, men who love to get drunk, and it's true. Now how you come out with me, and you'll see what you're missing in life on the streets of Dublin. On the streets of Dublin. On the streets of Dublin. On the streets of Dublin.
Tick and tock went my childhood. Father said I would know the place. Skin would tingle and pulse would race as they do. It's here I'm home. I've lived within my dreams. Now it seems I've awakened, and they're real. Pinch and feel. If one day I walk upon this stage from these wings and play underneath this dome, and if I sing with all my heart,
Look, darling, your husband's only human after all. Hard to imagine, but there you are. And more to the point, he has needs along with the rest of us, though frankly that's even harder to imagine. But you've got to stop going on like some button-down Hausfrau. Just stop for a second, take a deep breath, and take a good hard look at yourself. You're of a certain age. You and Graham have been married for God knows how long. Presumably, you no longer find each other sexually appealing. and on the odd occasion you feel obliged to do so, it's more than likely forced and horrid, and there's doubtless very little left in that burnt-out ember of love that, with great force of mind, I can only vaguely imagine you once shared, and what little conversation you continue to engage in is almost certainly argumentative and combative, if not so dull and predictable that both of you have trouble summoning the energy to respond, since you both assume to know what the other's going to say before the sentence has hardly begun. So what do you expect? These things are gonna happen, darling. He's just scratching an itch. You know men and sex. It's like going to the lavatory. They'll do it just about anywhere if the urge is strong enough.
My name is Jeffrey Lauren, and this is a monologue from Gruesome Playground Injuries and Poison in My Pocket from A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. You know what, Kayleen? Jesus Christ. You know, I came to your house last year, and your dad was there, and I know he hates my guts. He always has. And he said to me, "She is where she is. I don't know where the girl is." He said he didn't care. And he didn't care to know. And I was about to just leave. But I didn't. I didn't. And I said to that son of a bitch, "Remember, asshole? You dead piece of shit. You remember what I said to you?" I said to him, "You are f***ing worthless. You have a daughter, and she is a gift from God. She's the most perfect being to ever walk this earth, and you don't even know it. And she loves you because you're her stupid father. But you never loved her back. All you did was damage her and f*** her up, and you never even bothered to notice that she's this angel. So fuck you, c***er." Then I told him I hoped he'd die alone. Which he did, so I feel kind of guilty about that now. I can take care of you, Lainey. With the rhythm of a violinist, I'll go soaring where I think the ice is thinnest to create a hole through which the tragic lovers meet their doom. One could call this rather diabolic. Is it strange to feel a wee bit melancholic, like a twinge of some remorse, of course, or conscience, I assume? But no, as I'm cutting, I am contemplating, and the truth is it's a tad exhilarating, even though it is not inconceivable that I'll be caught. Still it comes as quite a shock. It seems a novice standing here with poison in his pocket can discover murdering is easier than he had thought. All of this is frankly easier than I had thought.
Hi, I'm Sophie Thompson, and today I'd like to present Mindy's monologue from 5 Women Wearing the Same Dress by Alan Ball, and a cut of Will You from Grey Gardens by Scott Frankel and Michael Corey. Well, great. That's just great. Anything I can offer is going to be thrown in my face as some perverted seduction attempt. Meanwhile, a man can actually molest her while she's still a child, and she calls it love. That son of a bitch. I swear to God, Trisha, sometimes I cannot believe how incredibly fucked up men are. They fucked up the economy, they fucked up the environment, and what the hell do they do about it? They fuck little girls! You don't mind if I rant, do you? God knows I don't want to be one of those dykes who hates men. I don't hate men. Some of my best friends are men. I just hate them right now. I knew that this day was doomed from the moment when Scott first told me he was going to marry Tracy. Tracy, who requested that I not bring Deb, who's my lover of 9 years, to the rehearsal dinner because she wanted to keep it just family. And I acquiesced because I didn't want to cause another big scene. And now Deb is boycotting the wedding, which Tracy has gone out of her way to let me know that she's very hurt by. She will never love my little brother the way he deserves to be loved. She will never honor him and cherish him, you know, like she said she would today in front of God and everybody. It just makes me so sad. And now I'm in this ridiculous dress with a fucking pincushion on my head. I look like a hooker from the Twilight Zone, and if I blow chunks, I'm gonna be really upset. I hate throwing up. You're totally alone when you throw up.
larks return in spring, will you? When larks in the meadow sing, will you? When clouds of a summer storm dissolve and starlight shimmers through, will you? When wild geese of autumn fly, will you? When hearth fires of winter die, will you? Time rushes by, memories fade, dreams never do. I will stay ever true. Will you?
Let me be a ride out of town. Let me be the place where you hide. We can make our lives on the go. Run away with me. California dreams, here we come. Romeo is calling for Juliet. Ready, set, Sam. You're ready, let's go. Anywhere. Say the word and I'm already there. Run away with me.
This is something I like to call the Tower of Dreamers. The Wright brothers decide to make a flying machine. "You fools! You idiots! What's your problem?" everyone shouted. "That'll never work because plywood weighs more than air." To which the Wright brothers responded, "No, it doesn't." The Wright brothers were dreamers. The Earl of Sandwich and Sir Francis Bacon. Had it not been for them, the BLT would merely be lettuce and tomato. They were dreamers and sandwich makers. Vincent van Gogh. People told him, "You only have one ear. You'll never be a great artist." You want to know what he said? I can't hear you. Vincent van Gogh was a dreamer. Benjamin Franklin. People told him, "You can't fly a kite in a rainstorm." And Ben Franklin said, "Yes, you can, if you have an electric kite." So, dream your dreams. Dream your wildest dreams. You can climb the highest mountain. You can drown in a teacup if you have a big enough teacup. And if somebody tries to tell you that you can't do something, you say, "Yes, I can, because I'm doing it right now."
Hello, I'm Eleni Hansen, and this is a monologue from Time Stands Still by Donald Margulies and Times Are Hard for Dreamers from Amelie. Thank you.
Stop it! He was worried sick about it for days. He couldn't eat. He couldn't sleep. He loves you. Why would he want to hurt you? I mean, really? He's just doing his job. They have a magazine to put out, and it has to have different things in it. Not just stories about how miserable most of the world is. So they're not going to print your story. Too bad, they already have a bummer story running that week. I'm sorry. I'm sure you worked really hard on it. But what am I supposed to do with this information? Me, an ordinary person. I mean, it's not like I can do anything besides feel bad and turn the page, and thank God I was born in the half of the world where people have food to eat and don't go around hacking each other to death. The people who are killing each other have always been killing each other. And terrible things are always going to happen. They say times are hard for dreamers, and who knows, maybe they are. People seem stuck or lost at sea. And I might be a dreamer, but it's gotten me this far.
that is far enough for me. Look out my window, there's a view of other windows, my own museum full of paintings I look through, where everything is clear. It isn't where I am, it's only where I go from here that matters now, and I am not afraid. As everything I'll ever need appears, this is how my world gets made.
Hi, my name is Colin McGonigal. Today I will be performing Getting There from Fugitive Songs, followed by a monologue from Sex with Strangers by Laura Easton. Load the film, stretch the time, lose the map and disappear. Keep on capturing. Load the film, try to find the longest route from there to here. Keep on capturing. Keep on traveling. Keep on traveling. The next part of my 20s, gonna put my life in focus on the road. Set the course to anywhere, get me out of Utah, put me in the picture as long as I'm in motion. I'm getting there, I'm getting there, I'm getting there. Olivia, did you hear me? I think it's totally incredible. You said yourself you wanted someone to discover it and think it's incredible. That wasn't you basically telling me to read it? Listen, I think it's fucking brilliant. You can't keep this from the world. Look, I'm sorry if you're mad that I read it, but I can't be. No, I won't be. And it's a f***ing tragedy if no one else reads this. This book is everything. It's funny, it's subtle, it's moving, and surprising. Her inner life is like blindingly vivid. Best of all, it's really, really honest. So I'm not sorry, Olivia. I'm not.
Hi, I'm Karis Brizendine, and I have Dry Land by Ruby Ray Spiegel and Sister's Pickle from Amelie. I have been sleeping in my swimsuit for superstitious reasons. I haven't taken it off for a week. Because of this thing tomorrow? Swimming for the coach? So one day he's gonna come watch me to meet, right? But then the next he wants me to come swim my best while he's taping me from under the water, like invading all that space. And I've only seen his face once on a website, like a really confusing blue website. And this is the only school I'm getting recruited for because a year and a half ago I had this thing where I couldn't swim for like 3 months, so all the other schools dropped me, and I have a rash. Like a really bad rash. I think. I haven't seen it. Yeah, so. I'm not like trying to make you feel bad for me or anything. I'm trying to say that I'm not like physically fit and smiling or whatever. It's just this might be my future. And there was a time when I wasn't even sure if I liked myself enough to want a future. So, it feels really scary to want this. Like a lot. Or I could stay right here and shake this habit off. Just stay right here and say hello and say my name. Say here's your book and what a place. And hey, let's keep in touch. But that's way too much. It's hard to go unseen. At least in this instance with so little distance between me and the boy and his book and the shop and the wow. I'd take a step to get out, but my feet forget how. Now it's me, just me against the door. This isn't what I thought, although I think I want some more. But not right now, no, I need to go. I'm not finished with the boy, I mean the book. So I will hold him, hold it till tomorrow.
Performances. I do have a few questions that I want you all to write down. Who are you? And by who are you, you can say my name is, but also say I'm the daughter of. Like, what is significant about you? What is your purpose in the larger telling of the story, right? In the piece itself, the play itself, the musical itself. The second question is, who are you talking to? You can make that literal. You can say that you are speaking to your enemy, or I'm speaking to my best friend, or I'm speaking to myself, or I'm speaking to my mother who has died. And those could be people who exist in the play, and those could be imaginary for you, because when it comes to auditioning, it doesn't actually have to fully and perfectly fit the storyline that song belongs to. The next question is, what is your monologue song about? Monologues and songs, same thing. Within this piece, what do you learn, discover, or express for the first time? Admit, right? You can change that word out, right? Like, what do you learn? What do you discover? What do you admit? What do you come to terms with? What do you express for the first time? Something new must be happening. There has to be a moment of change.
On my head, I look like a hooker from the Twilight Zone, and if I blow chunks, I'm gonna be really upset. I hate growing up. You're totally alone when you grow up.
Great. That was really, really wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna ask you the questions. Who are you?
I'm Mindy. I'm a person who speaks their mind, and I want to be seen as a person and actually be heard.
Who are you related to?
I am the groom's sister.
Yeah, super important, right? That's where your point of view is coming from.
Yeah.
In addition to all the things you said, the reason you care is because you're the sister of the groom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. And then who are you talking to?
So Meredith has just left the room, and I'm talking to Trisha, who's the only other bridesmaid left in the room.
Okay, and who's Trisha?
She's friends with Tracy, who's the bride. But
yeah,
they all have problems with her, so.
Yeah. So you want to mind that carefully. Everyone has problems with the bride?
Yeah.
Yeah. So create for yourself, where are the moments where you feel like you can confide, and where are the moments where you may have overstepped, and where are the moments where you have to check in to make sure you haven't offended her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because do you know her well?
Not really.
Yeah. There's just a lot of room for creating fun detail that will belong to you alone, that no other person who comes in with that monologue will have. If you can establish what your relationship is with that, or find the details of your relationship with that person. And you so in auditions, you also want to make acting choices for you and your acting partner. You get to do that for once. Most of the time you don't. But in auditions, you get to decide like what their reactions are and how they feel about things. And you can make all of them self-serving. You can give them nothing but actions that help you make your performance more interesting. Yeah. Next question is, what is your monologue about?
She's expressing anger, and she doesn't want to be seen as a stereotype. I think that's really what it comes down to.
Okay.
Yeah, she's getting the lesbian stereotype put on her by Meredith, who just walked out of the room, but also not being treated the same as other guests.
Oh, she's not being treated the same as other guests. Got it. Got it. Great. And so what's her discovery or something she expresses for the first time, or what does she learn inside the monologue?
Like what her function in the family is once she gets into her partner not being invited. So.
Sure. Great. So then find that for yourself, and that's what you want to build to. Yeah. To that moment. And then everything after that has to be a result of what you've learned, or the result of what you've discovered or expressed out loud for the first time. A lot of times we think of like, what did I learn, as something that you have to have enter your mind for the first time ever. But it just may be the first time you're actually coming to terms with the thing and admitting the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. And then my last question for you is, in what way are you different at the end?
I really think it's the vulnerability aspect of it. She's always sort of running her mouth, but just kind of learning to be vulnerable in front of other people.
I think that's what happens. So that sounds like an outside looking at the character perspective. Internally, what's going on for her? So what's the last line? What does she say about throwing up?
You're totally alone when you throw up.
When she says you're totally alone when you throw up, is there any subtext? Does she feel alone?
Yeah. She,
or isolated?
She definitely feels isolated.
Yeah. Isolated, alone. She's standing out or being treated differently. So is that line, and this is for you to decide, how much of that line is about throwing up? How much of that line is about how she feels in the family? How much of that line is how she feels in the world? How much of that line is about how she feels amongst the other bridesmaids? Is she the type of person who is vulnerable enough to say, I feel really alone right now? And if she's not,
I don't think
so then she will, so the truth will bleed out no matter what. And what, you know what I mean? So like, what does she couch it in? Right? Like, people send the signals, whether we get them or not, even when they are afraid to come out and say it. Yeah. Humans, we really want to think with all of our characters, in what ways are we flawed? Perfection is something that we as audience kind of reject. It's boring to us. We don't relate. We don't find ourselves to be perfect. We are very critical of ourselves, or we make excuses for ourselves all the time, which is also a way of acknowledging our flaws. We're afraid someone else will see what we see. And so when we go to see theater or a movie or whatever the medium is, we immediately hook into other imperfection. That is the connection from soul to soul. We see ourselves in others' imperfections. We see ourselves in others' shortcomings, downfalls, mistakes they make, ways in which they are pained. If you see someone who's just like super perfect all the time, it better be for comic relief, right? Like, there's just gotta, we can laugh at that if it's because we're still picking at an imperfection. We're making fun of the perfect nature of that character. And we can't wait to see that person like show some humanity, you know? So, you know, you want to think about the ways in which she's broken or imperfect. And that doesn't mean we need to like tell a sob story. Not at all, because humans walk around protecting ourselves all the time. We just want to find like, where are the little cracks? It doesn't take much for us to recognize it in each other.
Main Stage is part of our larger programming, Digital Clock. Digital Clock is made possible by a generous gift from Phil and Liz Gross. If you'd like to learn more about our programming or how you can become a supporter, visit us at collegelightoperacompany.com. Tune in again at this time next week for another installment of Main Stage. Hope to see you there.